Let me tell you something that outdoor designers don't say out loud very often. A patio that looks like $1 million and one that actually cost $1 million are sometimes impossible to tell apart from the street. And not because the cheap one used luxury materials, but because whoever designed it understood something most homeowners don't know. The perception of value in an exterior doesn't come from how much you spent, it comes from where you spent it. Today I'm going to show you 10 changes that cost a fraction of what you'd imagine and that completely transform how your patio looks and feels. Some of them you can do this weekend. One of them literally costs $0. Stick around till the end because that one blows my mind every single time I see it work. I know what you're thinking, that nice patios are for people with big budgets, that what you can do with what you've got isn't going to make a real difference. And I get that thought because that's what the industry wants you to believe. But reality says something completely different. Basic garden maintenance, which runs about $400 a year, is the difference between a patio people walk right past and one where people actually stop. $400. That's what separates ordinary from extraordinary in an outdoor space. If that doesn't make you want to keep watching, I don't know what would. If this is the kind of content you needed, go ahead and subscribe because every week I'm putting out tips on how to upgrade your home. And we're starting with number 10 because it's the change people underestimate the most and the one that has the biggest impact on the overall perception of your entire patio. Before you buy a single plant, before you install a single light, before you make any other change on this list, pressure wash your patio. The concrete, the pavers, the fence, the facade, all of it. And the difference is hard to overstate. A patio that hasn't been washed in years builds up layers of grime, moss, and stains that make everything look old and neglected, even though the materials are in perfect shape. That layer of gunk steals years of visual life from your space. And removing it is like discovering a completely new patio underneath the one you already had. And here's the real math. Renting a pressure washer at Home Depot runs between $47 and $102 a day, depending on the power. Buying an entry-level electric one like the Sunjoe SPX 3000 costs between $170 and $200. One time. And the before and after is so dramatic that people who do it for the first time always say the same thing. I can't believe I waited this long to do this. A clean patio makes everything else look better. The plants look more vibrant, the furniture looks newer, the materials get their original color back. It's the visual reset any outdoor space needs before any other investment. And once you've got that clean canvas, there's something you can put on it that completely changes the scale and the presence of your patio. And the best part is, you can do it yourself for a fraction of the price. Oversized DIY planters. Here's something I find fascinating every time I see it. A concrete planter 5 feet wide by 2 feet tall at a high-end nursery costs roughly $3,000. The same planter made at home with concrete, rebar, and bucket molds costs $150 in materials. That's a 95% savings for the same visual result. And it's not just theory. Creators on TikTok like Ursula Carmona, host of the HGTV show Table Wars, have documented this process with results that look identical to what you'd find at luxury nurseries. The hypertufa technique, which mixes Portland cement with perlite and peat moss, produces planters that mimic aged limestone and that specialty nurseries sell for between $500 and $1,000 a piece. 2 oversized planters on either side of an entryway, an outdoor dining area, or flanking a pergola completely change the visual scale of the space. And scale is exactly what separates a patio that looks designed from one that looks thrown together. Now those planters are going to need something around them to make them look even better. And it turns out the simplest and cheapest change on this entire list is exactly what completes that picture. Fresh mulch with clean edges. This seems way too simple to be on this list, and that's exactly why it works so well. Kevin Lenhart, design director at Yardzen, said it on Redfin with a clarity you rarely hear. A fresh layer of 2 to 3 inches of mulch with clean, defined edges makes your entire front yard look professionally maintained right away. Fresh mulch does 3 things at once that no other cheap change pulls off. First, it visually unifies your whole garden under one consistent tone. Second, it makes the plants you already have look more vibrant by contrast. Third, it sends a very specific signal to anyone looking at your yard. Somebody's in charge here. Somebody's paying attention. And the best part is the cost. An investment of roughly $340 in mulch covers an average front yard. $340 for a change that makes your whole exterior look like a professional maintenance crew just came through. That math doesn't need any more explanation. With a clean patio, the planters in place, and fresh mulch down, you've already got a foundation that looks completely different. But there's one element very few people think about, and that designers constantly mention as one of the highest impact changes for the money. A garden gate or fence gate with character. This is something very few people think about when they're designing their patio, and it's something outdoor designers constantly bring up as one of the highest impact changes for the money. The entrance to your yard, the gate or door that marks the boundary between the public outside and your private space. A well-designed garden gate does something very specific psychologically. It creates anticipation. It tells anyone who shows up that what's on the other side was intentional, that there's purpose behind that threshold. And that feeling of intention is exactly what makes a space feel luxurious even when it's not. Ornamental aluminum with a matte black powder coat runs between $20 and $75 per linear foot installed. It lasts over 20 years with zero maintenance. And the contrast of a well-proportioned black gate against any facade, whether it's brick, stucco, or wood, is one of the most powerful visual elements you can add to your exterior. You've got the entrance handled. Now let's talk about what people see once they walk through that gate. And this is where the right plants make all the difference. There's something landscape designers know that most homeowners figure out way too late. You don't need a ton of plants for a garden to look amazing. You need the right plants in the right spots. Native plants are the answer that makes the most sense in almost every climate across the US. And the numbers are wild. Farm Bureau Financial Services documented that native plants cost $3,000 to maintain per acre over 20 years versus $20,000 for non-native plants, an 85% savings over 2 decades. And the EPA confirms that native and drought-tolerant plants can cut outdoor water use by up to 60% compared to conventional lawns. But beyond the savings, there's something that makes a garden with well-placed native plants look instantly more sophisticated than one full of generic nursery plants. Native plants have a natural relationship with the space. They look like they belong there, because they do belong there. And that authenticity is exactly what the most expensive designers charge big money to replicate artificially. But there's a spot in almost every yard where even the best plants in the world aren't going to work. That corner where nothing grows. And for that, there's a solution the Japanese perfected centuries ago. Gravel instead of grass in tough spots. There's a spot in almost every yard that nobody talks about, but everybody has. That corner where the dirt shows through after every rain, where you tried planting 3 times and all 3 times it failed. And most homeowners just ignore it because they don't know what to do with it. Gravel is the answer that Japanese garden designers have been using for centuries, and that today shows up in the most photographed patios in California and the Southwest. And the numbers are hard to ignore. Pea gravel runs between 50 cents and $2 per square foot in materials. Professionally installed, between $2 and $3. And once it's down, it doesn't need watering, it doesn't need mowing, it doesn't need fertilizer. But here's what really shifts your perspective. A 1,000 square foot lawn needs roughly 35,000 gallons of water a year, according to the California Water Agencies Association. A gravel garden needs 0. One documented case in California replaced 1,200 square feet of lawn with gravel and saved 84,000 gallons of water per year. 84,000 gallons. And $420 a year on the water bill. What makes gravel look expensive isn't the gravel itself, it's the intention behind how it's installed. Defined steel edging, 1 or 2 architectural plants strategically placed, and stones of different sizes mixed together. That's what separates a gravel garden that looks neglected from one that looks designed. With the gravel and plants in place, your patio's ground already has structure, but there's one element that goes on top of that ground and does something no other change can do. It turns an open space into a room. And that's a quality outdoor rug. I know this sounds basic, but there's a reason every single outdoor designer, without exception, includes a rug in every project they do. Box Hill & Co. put it perfectly. A rug can establish a seating or dining zone, visually organize the furniture, and make the area read like a real outdoor room. Without that anchoring element, furniture can feel scattered. An outdoor rug does something no other element does. It turns a space into a room. And that transformation, from space to room, is exactly what makes a patio look expensive. Because expensive patios don't look like patios. They look like extensions of the house pushed outside. A good quality polypropylene rug in an 8x10 size runs between $125 and $250. It lasts 5 to 7 years with real UV resistance, and the visual impact is instant from day one. Everything we've done so far looks incredible during the day, but there's a detail most homeowners forget that completely changes the experience of your patio: layered landscape lighting. Most patios disappear at night, literally. The sun goes down and the space you built with so much care becomes invisible. And the solution most homeowners go with, a strip of cheap solar lights from the garden center, actually makes the problem look worse instead of better. Well thought out landscape lighting is consistently one of the outdoor upgrades that generates the most satisfaction. Out of all the patio projects evaluated in industry studies, lighting gets the highest satisfaction rating, 10 out of 10. And it makes sense, because it doubles the hours you can enjoy your outdoor space. What works is thinking in layers. Low lights at ground level to define paths and edges. Up lights at the base of plants or walls to create depth and shadow. Warm light suspended or built into the structure to soften the space, all at 2700 Kelvin or less. A system of 20 well-placed LED lights costs roughly $21 a year in electricity, less than $2 a month, and it completely transforms how your patio looks and feels after 6 p.m. And speaking of nighttime, there's something you can add right at the center of all this that completely transforms how you use your patio when the temperature drops. And it doesn't cost anywhere near what people think: a well-placed portable smokeless fire pit. There's a reason the fire pit has become the centerpiece of the most photographed patios on social media. It's the spot where people gather, where conversations go longer, where a Tuesday night feels like a vacation. And it's not just perception. A HomeLight survey of 6,000 real estate agents confirmed it's the outdoor upgrade people want the most. Above lighting, above furniture, above everything else. And here's what makes this so doable. You don't need a permanent $10,000 stone fire pit to capture that effect. The smokeless fire pit market hit $1.18 billion in 2024, and 39% of all new purchases are now this type. Solo Stove alone reached a valuation of over $2 billion. The market already made the call. A mid-range portable smokeless fire pit runs between $150 and $300. You can move it, store it in the winter, reposition it depending on how you're using the space. And it extends your patio season well into fall. David Resmo, founder of Fire Pit Outfitter, said it last October: fall is one of the most underrated seasons for the outdoors. You don't have to stop enjoying your patio after Labor Day. And now we're at number 1. The change that costs $0, and every time I show it, the reaction is always the same. There's no way something this simple makes that much of a difference. Clean edges with a flat spade. Defined edges between the lawn and plant beds are what landscaping pros call the signature of a well-maintained garden. The grounds guys, with over 200 locations across the US, documented it like this: if you neglect your edges, your garden will lack the refinement that separates a well-defined landscape from one with blurry curb appeal. The technique is simple: a flat spade, a vertical cut 2 to 3 inches deep following the line where the grass meets the plant bed. That clean cut creates a shadow that visually defines every zone in the garden. A Bob Vila tester completed both sides of a 70-foot walkway in 5 minutes. 5 minutes, $0. And the result looks like a professional crew just showed up. 10 changes. Some cost less than $50. One costs $0. But they all have something in common. They transform the perception of your patio without requiring a full remodel or a designer's budget. What makes a patio look expensive isn't the price of the materials. It's the attention to detail. Those are the things people feel when they walk into a space, even if they can't name exactly what they're looking at. Tell me in the comments which of these 10 you're going to do first. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.